Welcome back to the foundational episodes of Not a Straight Line with Peter Daly-Dickson. Reflecting on our life, sometimes it's easier to think of it like a story. And many stories share a 3-act structure. In this episode, Rob outlines a little bit of that structure, and Peter reflects on his journey and how the fractal components of a 3-act structure give us an opportunity to reflect. Enjoy this episode, The Fractal of the 3-Act Structure.
If we adopt a storytelling perspective on it, there's pressure put on you in some regard as the protagonist that makes the current trajectory that you're on untenable. Like, you have to make a change.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, if you go back to plays, like a lot of great plays follow this kind of 3-act structure, which is in essence, subject, revision, new subject. And maybe that happens over your life. But then that 3-act structure is fractal because within each act there's like subject, revision, new subject, subject, revision, new subject.
I love that.
Each one of those is like a little zag.
That's meta. I love that. And also, I mean, one of the things that the whole fractal, the Mandelbrot set speaks to is chaos, that it's central to the theory of chaos. And I think I'm happy with that. I'm comfortable with that. And possibly partly maybe coming back to the whole ADHD thing, we are incredibly tolerant of risk because of what that gives us for dopamine.
Yeah, it's one of these contradictory things in that you're tolerant of risk, but you don't like to be rejected. So you probably shouldn't go and work in sales or something.
Yeah.
But maybe a lot of business owners who might be listening to this can maybe relate to that. But they don't like to go out prospecting, for instance.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And you asked a question about, was returning to acting always at the back of my mind? So even when I was working in IT and I ended up starting and running my own software company, I kept up to some degree or other involvement with amateur or non-professional theatre companies. Less so when our youngest son was born. Andrea and we got married about 13. Yeah, so we've been together 20 years this year. We got married 13 years ago. So for a period of about 5, 6, 7 years, I guess I didn't really do much. But it's always there. Like I said, once a thespian, always a thespian.
I have a similar nagging sensation about writing a novel. Something I tried to do when I was 21 and wrote about 20,000 words and then gave up because I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of the craft. It didn't really have a plot as such. It was just like a joyride of monsters and events, explosions and things. But it's still there in the back of my mind. I don't do it because I've got a lot else on and, whatnot. I've got small kids. But it's got to get to a point where I'm going to have to say to myself, "What is this? It like is this what you're settling for? Like just not doing it because you're busy?" Like, and that point's going to come at some point. I don't know when it's going to come, but it is going to come.
Yeah, and I think those things that do stay with you are, I guess, part of the internal compass that we all have to, it's not a straight line journey, but it's not random. It's not just going here and there just for the sake of it. I mean, there might be times that we think, "Oh, just fuck it, I'll just go and explore this thing for a time." But I have a sense that, and you spoke to it there, Rob, I have a sense that there is an inner compass, a gyro compass, if you like, that keeps us moving towards the thing which is most important to us.
I think the universe knows this, and I think I'm slowly learning that the universe has a kind of weird sense of humor and likes to throw challenges in your way as well.
And irrespective of whether you believe the universe gives a shit or whether it has some kind of outside meaning to it. The fact is, to answer your question specifically, is yes, it's always been at the back of my mind.
Can I share 2 of my zags that may be interesting? Because the first zag, there was significant pressure on me in various forms and whatnot. And the second zag, that pressure wasn't there, but it still happened. So the first one was in 2018. I was doing a head of marketing role it was a full-on marketing role for a very demanding employer. On paper, it was a great job. It really fit me really well. It was quite long hours. And then in February, my son Hugo was born premature, and I was juggling all of these plates at work, spinning, and I just kind of let them all drop. And for anyone who knows me, I'm this like stoic, like hard, on the face of it, quite a tough exterior type person. And I think I had what can only be described as a breakdown at work. And a breakdown for me isn't going and sobbing in the toilets, but it's just like sitting at my desk, feeling vacant, and then leaving work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and going home, and just letting all of the plates crash on the floor and just dealing with the consequences afterwards. And then, so I ended up leaving that job soon after. But that was one of the zags, and I think that had to happen. And I'm grateful now that my son was born when he was, because it put that additional pressure on me. I was under pressure anyway, but I probably would have persevered with it and maybe caused a bigger crash later on. So I'm kind of grateful that situation happened. The second zag was then in 2022. I'd been employed in a lower paid but much lower stress situation for 3 years, and at the same time I'm self-employed and I do various things off my own back. And so it was in September. My son Hugo is now 4, had just started school, and it's that thing of like starting school where like everyone else is moving on, things are changing around you. And I actually went for a vasectomy. I was lying there on the operating table while a nurse is saying, just a sharp scratch, and that sharp scratch is obviously happening to your scrotum. And there was a 5-second moment there when I was like, I need to leave work. It's time. I think things are moving on. Hugo starting school. It's the end of my strong swimmer's career. It's time. There's this like internal body clock thing of like ding 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 ding. Like it's time to get back to something else. And I felt that very distinctly in that moment. But the second moment was different because there wasn't the same pressure on me. I just felt like it was time to make a change.
The pressure was internal.
The first one was like, I've got to make a change because I'm going to crack.
There was pressure, but it was internal, not external.
Yeah. And I think for anyone listening as well, it's like there will be these moments in your past, and it's like often they don't manifest as being these like life-changing moments at a time. It's only when you kind of like reflect back on them afterwards.
And I guess that speaks, Rob, to the fact that whatever you're going through, whatever, whether it's good or bad, my mum has a saying, good or bad, who can say? So something's going on, good or bad, who can say? And there is a story behind that about a Chinese farmer and whatever. I don't really want to go into it, but the reality is something happening is not the thing. How you respond to it is the thing. I think it was Seneca, the Greek philosopher or Roman philosopher or whatever. He said, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond that matters. And Shakespeare said it as well. So nothing's either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. And just with what you said there, Rob, that knowing that when you get to like Steve Jobs, so when you get to a certain place in your life, any place in your life, and look back, I guarantee you will be able to see the thread that connects it all together. Hopefully, that should give people hope that wherever they are now, whatever situation they're in now, at a future time, when they look back, they will see how it connects to everything else that's happened and how it connects to what has gone on subsequently, where at the moment you can't see where it's going. So just relax.
Thanks for listening to this foundational episode of the introductory series to Not a Straight Line. If this series interests you, share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And join us next time for another episode of Peter Daly-Dickson and his Not a Straight Line journey.
Hi, Pete here again. Just a quick question before you go. Have you ever dreamed of having your own podcast but held back? Too busy, unsure where to start, worried it's too complicated or expensive? Well, this Black Friday, I've made it easier and cheaper than ever to finally start. Just visit activateyourpodcast.com/Friday and you can grab the exclusive offer before it's gone. This is your moment. Don't miss it.